now stands back in amazement. And so we've had this incessant centralization of power for a simple reason. And it's got faster for this reason. The more you centralize power, the more power you have to centralize quicker. And so the whole thing goes faster and faster and faster. And so, with the European Union, once we crossed the Rubicon of the Lisbon Treaty, they had assembled enough centralized power within the bureaucracy of the EU to push it on faster and faster and faster as they have since. So the idea is the constant centralization of power to this end. They want a world government which would dictate all global policy that meant anything. They would have a world central bank dictating all finance globally. They would have a single electronic currency that would have no cash, for which there are massive implications for freedom. Look at all the stuff now with the technology. You're seeing it. I was writing about this 20 years ago that it was coming. All these smartphones and stuff. Oh, you don't need to go in the bank anymore. Do it online. Oh, do it from your phone. They're creating the cashless society based on a single electronic currency. And the cashless society means this. If you go into a store or a shop now and you hand over electronic money, a credit card, and the system says no, won't accept it, at least for now, though it's going out of fashion so fast, you can pay cash. Once cash is gone, that's the idea, then when that computer says no to your electronic money, your microchip as they ideally want, then it's deciding if you can or cannot purchase. It's about control. That's what it's about. And you see, the euro was never meant to work because they want this single currency. They have to do it in steps. It means that they had all those European currencies, the guilder, the lira, the mark, and all the rest of them. Now, they had to get rid of them on the road to a single global electronic currency. So in comes the euro, and it wiped them all away. Massive step forward to that goal I've been writing about all these years. Now, all they need to do is destroy the euro and the world currency in general, and they'll say, well, what we have to do is we have to have a world currency to sort out this problem. Alongside the world government and world central bank and single currency, they want a world army to impose the will of the world government. Now, we already have a world government de facto. It goes under names like G8 and G20 and all this stuff, UN Security Councils. We also have a de facto world army, and it's called NATO, which imposes the will of these people. Send the boys in. So we're seeing it unfold before our eyes, and still the mainstream media can't see it because it can only see dots and not pictures. And there's two techniques that are necessary to understand. Many people will be aware of these here, but I'll go through them for the mainstream media. Because that's the thing, you see. This is the thing. This is what the mainstream media do not understand in their bewilderment at what's happening, is vast numbers of people are now far more informed about the world than they are. This is the thing. The first technique I gave the name to a long time ago now, problem, reaction, solution. Real simple. You want to change the world in a way that if you did it openly, there would be a massive response against it. So you don't do it openly. You first of all create a problem which you blame someone else for. 9/11 and all that stuff, a banking crash, a government crash. You blame it on someone or something else. You then, here we go again, through a unquestioning mainstream media, You pass on your version of that problem to the public, and you're looking at stage 2 for a reaction of fear, of anxiety, of do something, something must be done. And then you, who covertly created that problem, then offer the solution to the problems you've created. And those solutions are changes in society that advance the agenda towards this structure I'm talking about, that would never have happened without the manipulated problem. There's even a version, Tony Blair's good at these. Tony Blair, yeah. If there's ever a half-truth in a Blair speech, it's the typing error. Okay, but it's an add-on to that technique, an offshoot, which I call no problem reaction solution. This is when you don't need a real problem to justify the solution, you just invent one. Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Dead simple. Don't need a problem. Invent it. And alongside problem reaction solution, its partner almost always hunts together, what I call the totalitarian tiptoe. Again, dead simple, and my goodness me, that brings us back to this organization here. You start at A, as they did, and you know you're going to Z. You know where the agenda's leading. But if you go there too quickly, the changes in society are such that people look up and go, what's going on? What's happening? And so you do it in steps, as big as you can get away with, but not so big that you alert too many people. And so what we've seen in the most classic example, which brings us to this organization, so the totalitarian tiptoe is the European Union. We have a European Union centralized bureaucratic dictatorship thanks to the Bilderberg Group and its manipulation over decades. The Bilderberg Group was created in part by a man called Joseph Rettinger. It just so happens that Joseph Rettinger was one of the major instigators of the European Union. And he worked in creating the initial common market with a man called Jean Monnet, who is still today called the father of Europe, the father of the European project. I have a quote here from a letter by Monnet, one day after I was born. April the 30th, 1952, right at the start of the European project, orchestrated in so great a part through this. And this is what Monnet said in 1952. Europe's nations should be guided towards the superstate without their people understanding what is happening. This can be accomplished by successive steps, each disguised as having an economic purpose, but which will eventually and irreversibly lead to federation. This is not an accident. This is not, oh, we better have a Maastricht Treaty. Shall we have a Maastricht Treaty? It's all projected forward. And we have now reached the point in Europe where something like 70-odd% of the laws that are introduced into this country start out in the bureaucracy in Brussels. That's how far we have gone. And we've got a situation, the guy in there called Viscount Etienne d'Avignon, right? They love their titles, these people. You know, I reckon Mandelson must have had an orgasm for a month when he was made a lord. You know? Ronaldo, I'm a lord. You're a prat. Hey, I can't take that guy seriously. And I've got to say, a non-stop orgasm by Mandelson. I just got a message to my visual senses. Would you please remove the image I now have in my mind, because it's bloody horrible, right? Anyway, the Davignon guy said a few years ago, when he was chairman of this bloody lot, that they were involved and instrumental in bringing in the euro. Leaked documents from the 1955 Bilderberg meeting in Germany show that they were talking about the common market. We have a devastated fishing industry in this country. We have a devastated mining industry. And we have a devastated manufacturing industry because of these people over the decades. Maybe a lot of people don't realise this, but it was proved when documents came to light under the 30-year rule of the British government, when they released documents. Edward Heath, when I was a kid in the 60s, was never off the telly pressing us to join the common market. Edward Heath, major Bilderberger, frontman gopher for the House of Rothschild, especially a guy called Lord Victor Rothschild, who helped to set this thing up. Heath, in his negotiations, while denying it at the time, agreed, when signing us into Europe at the start of the 1970s, that he would run down, Britain would run down, our fishing industry on an island nation, manufacturing and all the other stuff and mining, because right from the start they had stitched Europe up and set out a structure all the way back at the start through these people, where they were dictating which countries within the European superstate would specialize in what. And what they decided Britain would specialise in is service industries, banking, and the City of London. And what has happened since is that all the things that Heath agreed to run down when he joined have been run down massively, with great, unbelievable devastation for families and people's lives. They don't give a shit! And at the same time, the things that Britain was supposed to specialise in, they're the ones that have been expanded and expanded and expanded, not least the City of London. This is not something that happens by chance. It doesn't happen by random. It doesn't happen in a projection a few weeks or months or even years forward. What is unfolding in front of our eyes is a conspiracy to enslave humanity in a global Orwellian state, in which the whole area of what they want has been set out for beyond decades, and it will continue to play out until we stop it. Predicting the future is easy. Predicting the future is easy when you uncover what the projected agenda is, because if nothing comes in to intervene and stop it, it will happen. That's what makes predicting the future easy. That's why all these things are happening now that were in my books years ago. It's not because you're a bloody prophet, but unless we stop it, it unfolds. Our role now, it's coming to our attention, is to stop it and put the spanner in the works. And we have the power to do it. This is the world they want, and we are standing symbolically in it. And I'll tell you what I mean. They have, over there, many representatives of the banking system. A banking system which lends people money that doesn't exist, called credit, and then charges them interest on it. How can the police stand there and not arrest them? Anyone else lent someone, or gave someone something that didn't exist and asked for money for it, their collar would be felt. Bankers, no problem. And the reason is the banking system is absolutely at the foundation of how the enslavement is being played out. Because 2008 was not a crash by accident, it was a crash by design. The world they want is symbolized so perfectly here. They want a world in which there is a tiny, tiny few of mega, staggeringly rich people that have now, again, like globalization, been given a name. The 1%. It's less than that, actually, in the really upper echelons. They want that group running everything and living a